Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we're looking at the new Mattel 6-inch Halo line Linda figure. She's part of Blue Team. She just goes by Linda. We don't need to say Spartan Linda. We know who she is. She's that badass with the sniper rifle. And I have to say, this figure, for the most part, suits her. It's very badass, and it has a sniper rifle. A lot of things people were worried about originally, such as the sniper looking like a kid's toy or the figures not having enough paint. While they're kind of on the right track, they're not, because they still look plenty good, especially at the price point, given the size and the articulation. I think we're getting more than enough. There are a few things I'd like to change on these figures, and I'm going to keep mentioning it because I don't know who's seeing which videos. But let's get the figure off the stand and take a closer look. Alright, Linda stands just about 16 centimeters tall, which makes her just about 6 1/4 inches. So pretty much standard size, and she has all the same type of removable armor as all the other figures. It all comes off. You can swap it all out if you want to. Again, I think that's more of a manufacturing thing than an actual playability thing. Unless you're a little kid, then you can do that. In terms of having the appropriate amount of paint, I think she does. I mean, we have all of the blue and brown and gray painted on her chest. The head has a lot of paint on it, so that's a pretty good thing. I think that looks pretty good. Then we have paint throughout. You can see that darker color up against this off-white. We have the bronze down here for the leg armor. Between the molded parts and the painted parts, the only thing we really need, and I'd say need in terms of aesthetically, not in terms of value-wise, is a wash. Some panel lining would be nice, but we don't, at the price point, I think it's okay, so no big deal there. In terms of accessories, she does come with the Nornfang, which it could have a better paint job. Sculpt is fine. Mine's really warped for the bipod and that top piece. It came that way in the packaging, which I should mention, it's really hard to get the pieces of the armor out of the packaging. So Mattel, if you're listening out there, it'd be nice if you guys could loosen up that packaging a bit. But the Nornfang does have some shading on it and some nice paintwork, and she can technically hold it in both hands. It's a little tricky to do, but she can do it. And she does come with the Magnum, which needs a little bit of paint. It's just solid grayish black. The sculpt is okay, but a little bit of paint would go a long way, and both weapons have the weapons peg holes, which can go on either side of the hips or on the top of the back, so that's pretty good. As far as the articulation goes, the head has pretty good range. It leans forward. Sometimes you can't really get it to go that far, but it does lean forward and back, and it rotates around, and you can lean it from side to side a little bit, so I think that should be enough. She doesn't have that extra snap in the neck peg that Locke has to get it to look even farther up and down, but I think it's enough. For the shoulders, you can bring them almost out horizontally, which is probably good enough. You have to kind of tuck that armor in a little bit. You have the full rotation, so that's fine. You have the bicep swivel, which is pretty good. It does allow for her to bring her arm pretty far forward. But in order to have the perfect range of motion, in order to hold the weapon appropriately, we do need another swivel at the lower part of the bicep. That way, when you rotate the arm around and that armor conflicts with the chest armor, you can continue to rotate the arm around at that other swivel. We need that. That would be fantastic. We technically do have a double jointed elbow, but really it's just the bottom joint that works, and we still only get about 90 degrees out of it. For the wrists, we have a swivel and a hinge, so that's pretty good. For the torso, it's probably the best out of all the figures because she's got that narrower waist. She can lean back, she can lean forward, side to side, full rotation. Well, maybe Locke's is technically better, but hers does have the full range, so that's good. This is a soft piece. I'm not sure if it's supposed to flip out like that. I'm pretty sure mine's just warped from the packaging, but either way, it's not that big of a deal. For the hips, we can bring the legs not so far forward. Hers is probably the worst out of the bunch. Well, Locke's armor was in the way, but hers is actually physically molded in the way. You can't bring them too far forward. I hope they can tweak that somehow going forward. No pun intended, because they don't really go that far forward. Out to the sides, no problem at all. We do have our thigh swivel, double jointed knee, full range there. And then for the ankles, we have the hinge that goes pretty far forward, all the way back, and our ankle rocker. So it's pretty good. What we really need is slightly better hips, an extra swivel in the bicep, and then for the foot armor, this design needs to go. At least they cut out the area for the peg holes on this one, but what they should do, and this is definitely the right choice, even if it costs them a little bit more, it adds so much value to the figure. Instead of having these hollow foot things, let's make the entire bottom solid. put a peg in it so that it pegs into the bottom of the foot. Okay, so that'll cover the heel and the bottom. And then the front of the foot can just be a part that snaps onto the top. So it'll function a lot like the calves. Put one piece on this way, one piece on from behind. So it'd be one piece on the bottom, one on the top. Perfect, solid foot armor, no problem at all. And it would give the figures a little bit extra height, which wouldn't hurt either. So I think it's a really good figure. Overall, very solid, very nicely made. Maybe a little bit of hairdryer action to soften up some of the weapons or the armor that got warped in the packaging. But all in all, it's definitely a figure I recommend. If you're a Halo fan, you should be happy about this Mattel line. So far, they're doing a really good job, and I'm really hopeful to see how much better it gets as they move forward with the line. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have new videos every single day. Usually it's action figures. We also talk about video games and movies and TV shows and all kinds of stuff. I stream Halo every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so make sure you tune in for that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.